Another stone nail today. We are doing a rutilated citrine or rutilated golden quartz. I have a sample of each and I kind of am combining them into the same nail. That's my rutilated quartz sample that I have with all those nice inclusions or rutile streaks. I'm not exactly sure all of the proper terminology, but anyway, they're really cool little golden hairs going through it. And then we've got this honker of a specimen here. That is my heat treated citrine sample. And look at all that cool silver kind of flash and those little kind of silvery but almost whitish, trickly, glittery bits in there. And it also has some rainbow flashes going on in there too. And I'm basically combining what I like about both of those specimens in this nail. So let's get to it. Okay, our base coat is going to be from the Yogurt Nails Bubble Mag 2 collection, number 69. And I kind of am going, the citrine, it's more of, my first one I did from left to right on those samples I was showing, I did it very much more yellow. And I ended up kind of going more into this vein where it is a creamy beigey yellow because it matched a little better. But you can see some of the colors I have in the background there. A Nico gel, yellow mag, and a more yellow syrup gel. You can always add some stuff like that if you want. But this is definitely more in that cream olivey yellow tone. My second layer is from the Favori, the Velvet Glow Magnet Collection, the Olive Gleam. I believe it's number 12. And I'm pretty much just doing this on the bottom half of the nail. And this is one of those gels that has the black flocking fiber in it. And again, since we're emulating a natural, mineral here, you can just do it sloppy. And I'm basically just doing this because I want more coverage on the nail because, nails look different when you're just doing this on a fake, clear nail with no human flesh underneath it. So I'm kind of trying to block out where your skin would be so that we can still get this nice effervescent kind of see-through effect. And so I'm just doing the mag more on the bottom. And now we're going to do our first little underlayer of some of the rutile formations. And I'm just using some gold tinsel. And I just need something for the tinsel to stick to. So I'm just going in. The only reason that's Nail Thoughts Clear Builder Gel. Just something that has some, sticks. It's not a top coat. And the only reason my bottle is laying outside because this is my super old bottle of it. So I'm just trying to use it up. So I just want some wet polish on there so that the tinsel bits will stick. And I'm only going to do a little bit on this. I just want this so that we have some depth. So not everything's on the same layer. And it's just easier to do tweezers. And I would try to make it so that they're in from the edge of the nail. That will help longevity so that something doesn't start peeling away. And I'm just going to speed through this so we can see it, but not get too bored by it. I'm kind of doing things in sprays, like fans, but you don't want it too everything perpendicular, to each other. You want it to look natural so it can be a little messy. You don't want it all over the place because then you lose the effect. So you want to kind of group them, but they don't have to be perfectly straight, all that kind of thing. It's this whole making it feel natural and like there was not human intervention in it. Okay, that's good for our first little tinsel layer. Go ahead and cure that. And then we are going to wipe it down with rubbing alcohol because now we're going to just spot do some nail foil gel. I'm going to use the Jin.b gum gel. It's basically their foil gel. It's a little confusing in the name. I like it because it's thin. You can also use the Macart foil gel, glue, whatever. That's like my old standby. Mine bottle is just kind of getting a little older and it's gotten a little thicker. And I'm just doing very thin, kind of streaky, blotchy areas on the nail. And then I'm going to cure that for 30 seconds. And then we're just going to go in with our clear holographic rainbow film. I like the plain rainbow film. I had the sort of shattered one in my hand. You could use that too. I just find, I just like the flash of the plain rainbow stuff. And I'm just using my scraps on this because I just want little flecks here and there. So just go through and make sure you have the right side of your foil and get those little rainbow flashes on the nail. Okay, and now we are going to make our silver flash. I'm going to use the Kokoist Accessory Bond. You just want some sort of thicker texture, clear gel. And I'm going to mix up 2 different kinds of flake glitters that I think kind of make the perfect mix for this. I'm going to start with the NailMartUSA, their ice flake glitter. This is a little harder to find, and I believe almost everything I'm using today can be found on Sweetie Nail Supply. I think I found a similar glitter on Amazon for this, but they come and go. This is a very, weirdly, you'd think it was a simple one, but it's not. So I love this, but it's when you mix it into gel, sometimes on nails, it becomes too transparent and it doesn't do as much as you'd think, for depending on what you want to do with it. For this nail, I want more of that silver flash with it. So I'm going to reserve a little bit off to the side for a little more subtle stuff. And then I'm going to mix this Laza silver chrome flake glitter from Amazon, which also is now difficult to find, but I did find a replacement for it. It's in a set though. So now for some reason, they don't have this right now on Amazon. Maybe they will again. So it's always good to look again. And I will have a list on Amazon. You can always just find the picture of the nail, and I do it by tutorial. So it's easy to find. There's a lot of little sections, but they are each for each nail, and then some basics and favorites on there too. And again, all these links are in the description if you just click on more and then scroll down. You want to gently mix the glitters in with that texture gel because these will break up fairly quickly, so just don't overdo it with the mixing. And there's a sweet spot with this mix. Sometimes you don't have enough glitter, there's too much clear, and then this time around I kind of was too dense with the glitter, so I'm going back and adding a little more clear just so it spreads easier on the nail. And now we're just going to apply it to the nail in some little chunks. Again, you don't want to just smear it everywhere because you lose the impact of the stuff we're adding. So just kind of do some sloppy kind of geometric, like a line, and then it can edge up, a blob somewhere else. These are just this weird sparkly inclusion stuff. So keep it grouped so it has more of an impact and the nail isn't too much of a mess because this is already kind of a messy nail. Okay, now that's good for now for our sparkles. Do not cure this yet. Now we are going to go in with a clear builder gel again, and I just want to get some wet gel over the areas that we didn't put our glittery stuff, because now we're going to go in and directly place some more of the tinsel strands on this, and that texture gel and this builder gel, especially around the edges of the nail, get that builder gel so that the tinsel strands actually stick to the nail. Now, just before we do more tinsel, I'm getting out the quartz again. I want you to see all the black little speckly inclusions in there. So we're going to add that now. So these are all of my experiments on how to get some good speckly gel because I can't find exactly what I want ever. So this is just cheap black tea that I ground up even finer because you will be surprised at how fine you need to grind stuff up to get the scale correct on a nail. I thought I could just get the tea out of the tea bag and it'd be fine. It was huge on a nail. This is just cheap pepper. That nail there, those pieces are just black pepper. So get creative. You could probably go out and just get some dirt as long as it's kind of flat. So yeah, let's use a couple pieces of pepper in this too. And yes, I was joking with some friends the other day that this is what you'd pick off your nails if it got stuck in the wet gel. And now I'm sitting here trying to come up with the perfect dirt polish. This is what it's come to, my friends. Here we are. And now there are some like eggshell speckle polishes. And Frank, this I think is Annie's. I think I finally found this on AliExpress. But even this has that slight brown tinge to it. Like it looks like my homemade tea one. And there's a few others, but and there's some powders you can buy, but they've all been sold out when I've tried to get some recently, so I've had to resort to making my own stuff. You know, it's bad news when your stuff is sold out, because that means I'll just figure out a way to do it without your products. Okay, Tinseltown number 2. Now we're just going back in, and again, with this stuff, you can be creative with this. If, say, you have some like yellow fake hair, like that looks like the streaks in the quartz too. It doesn't have to be this gold tinsel. Yellow paper, if you did thin shredded strips of some thin, like maybe yellow tissue paper or some sort of metallic-y tissue paper, and cut it into very thin strips. So there's a lot of different ways to get this type of look. And frankly, this tinsel I'm using is from my super old fishing supplies, which is a great resource for sparkly things, by the by. So I have a tinsel linked on Amazon, but I am not quite sure how thick it is. So just fair warning, I don't know the brand of this, and it's just too hard to tell online what's a match. Okay, and this is what we have. I'm going to show you one little extra step that totally isn't necessary at all to do, but it's kind of fun. And then we're going to add just a tiny bit of white ink, and then we're just going to top coat. Okay, this is just another fun little way to get some gritty texture. I'm just going to take my accessory bond again, a little dollop of it, and I'm just going to mix some white craft glitter, some fine glitter in with it. And I'm going to do a fairly dense mix because I want the grittiness of the glitter to come through. And we still have not cured the nail from doing our original, silver flash glitter and everything, and the tinsel and the tea and the pepper, our nail recipe. So this is all still wet texture gel on here. So now I'm just adding this on here, mostly just to show you. This is just kind of a fun little trick because it plays really nice with white alcohol ink. The white alcohol ink really accentuates the texture of the glitter. Okay, now do a full cure before we put on the alcohol ink. I'm going to use the Kokoist white, the bleeding ink, their new line of it, because I got it on a really good sale right when it came out, and it comes with a skinny little brush, and I like things that are easy. You could also just use a craft alcohol ink, which I've done in the past and still use a lot, but this is just quick and easy for something like this. And just do some blobs, because we are just doing that sort of cloudy inclusion stuff that kind of builds up in the middle of that piece of citrine. And then I'm just going to go in and just dilute the edges on some of it so it doesn't look like I just blobbed it on there. And I'm really just trying to imitate some of this, that white splashiness that we get because the light's hitting it in certain ways. Okay, and that's it. We're essentially done. I am just now going to go in with my builder gel again to start to even out the surface of the nail. We've got one more little trick we can do to help this feel more like a substantial polished stone or gemstone or whatever. I'm going to paint top coat on the back side of the free edge of the nail. And it just kind of gives it a more substantial, clear look to it, like it is a translucent stone. And then we'll just continue with the top coat on the front. And depending on how bumpy your nail surface is, you may need to do a first round of top coat and then go back and just file off the extreme high points. And since we've done builder gel and top coat, hopefully we've protected the art stuff underneath, so you're not digging into that. And then that, even just the look of the filing, will help you to see where the low spots are. And then you can kind of adjust, where you're putting your final layer of top coat on it. And bam, there we go. Right next to our piece of citrine, there is the nail we just did. It's super cool seeing them right next to each other. You can see that little rainbow flash in the actual stone there on the left. Here, I'm trying to get my purple gloves out of the way because the top of that nail is very translucent and clear still, which is the cool part about it, while the bottom of the nail has a little more coverage for your finger underneath. Okay, and here's all 5 nails I did, and the first one's on the left, and going all the way to the right is the last one I did. So the first ones, you can see I ended up doing much more yellow, and then I kind of made them more pale. And you can also just use some alcohol ink in areas to get it a little richer brown or yellow, that kind of feel to it. So there's a lot of different ways to get some different color blocking, getting it pale, Here's what they are with the stones again. It was hard to get with these stones because everything's so see-through. And the last nail on the right, I didn't even do any of the tinsel inclusions on it. I only did a few tiny bits of the black speckles because I just wanted to see if I simplified it down a little, what would that turn out like? Okay, and that's it. We're done. That's our Rutilated Citrine, Rutilated Quartz nail tutorial.